Hey guys, happy Friday. Happy almost Labor Day weekend. Anybody else excited about this last holiday of the summer? Oh, I hate saying last of the summer because I want to hold on to summer as long as I can. I'm that lady who holds on with both hands until my fingers are white knuckly. So anyway, guys, today I want to talk to you about those of you, myself included because I'm a work in progress, those of us that say we're sorry a little bit too much. I call it the sorry syndrome or the apology ailment or the, just the out of your mouth, I'm sorry, when it's not necessary. So here's where the video came to be. I do some conference calls every couple of weeks with an organization that I'm working with, and it's a lot of information on the calls. And I find myself more often than not saying, I'm sorry, can you explain that? Or I'm sorry this or that. And I realized this is something that I've been doing over and over, and then I realized that I do that a lot. I say I'm sorry in so many circumstances that's really not necessary. So are you the kind of person that says you're sorry a lot? Do you apologize for changing your mind? Do you apologize when you're walking out a door, somebody's walking in and you're like, oh, sorry? Do you apologize way too much? I know I do. Now, let me clarify that I'm not talking about the apologizing, the saying I'm sorry when it's really called for, when you've hurt somebody's feelings, when you have been unkind, when you have made a mistake. Those are the times to definitely say you're sorry. But it's those automatic responses, those reactive utterances, those shoot from the hip I'm sorries that really are not called for. So I want to ask you this. Let me just say this. Over apologizing can mean that we feel that our response or our behavior isn't worth it. That we'd rather be agreeable than honest. Sometimes that's what we're telling other people and we're telling ourselves, that we're not worth it. So what I have found is that there are there are some personalities that have a tendency to over apologize way more than others. So this is my opinion, and I'm included in some of these personalities. So know that I'm speaking to myself. So as I'm listing these out, I want you to ask yourself, A, do you apologize a lot when it's not called for? And then the second thing, I want you to see if you can pick yourself out of one of these or a combination of these personalities. So the first personality that I recognize myself in, and I recognize many other people in that do this, that say I'm sorry, that shoot from the hip, I'm sorry, my hair looks a mess, I'm sorry, I should have worn makeup, I'm sorry. Some of us are very compassionate. Now, I think everybody's compassionate. I can't imagine anybody looking at something that is very sad and just sad and not having a twinge of compassion. But there are some out there that are extremely compassionate, and we care a whole bunch about situations and feelings of others. So if you're one of those people, I do believe that we are apt to say, I'm sorry, when we really didn't do anything to warrant that sorry. Second type of person, do you agree? I see myself in that. Second kind of person is the submissive person. That's the person that doesn't necessarily feel, maybe the submissive person in a relationship. They don't feel the need to put up boundaries, so they're not used, or they're not treated as a doormat. They're extra submissive and they don't want to put up boundaries. So their answer is to say, I'm sorry, a whole bunch more than the other person does. Okay. Third type of personality that I see this apology syndrome, apology ailment in, are those that are the keepers of the peace. Let me know if you're a keeper of the peace. I'm sort of a keeper of the peace. These people are agreeable at all cost. They want to prevent a conflict. Their stomach gets in knots. If there's conflict in the air, they'd rather say, I'm sorry, than cause a fight. Are you one of those people? Are you a keeper of the peace? So you'd rather say, I'm sorry, than, create waves. I think I'm embedded in all of these, but I'm getting out of it. The fourth type of person who is very apt to say, I'm sorry, is that person who's not confident. They are unsure of themselves. They are unsure of their knowledge. They're unsure of their qualifications. They're unsure of a lot of things. So they're going to assume that they're wrong. So they're going to say, I'm sorry. Are you that kind of person? Are you a little bit like that person? Another personality is someone who is very humble, which is a wonderful thing. Wonderful thing. I was raised to be very humble. But when you turn it around in a way so that you don't want any attention to be shown on you, so you'd rather say, I'm sorry, because I don't want any of the attention thrown on me. So I'm going to say, I'm sorry a lot. Does that make sense? And then the last one is those people pleasers. They just want people to like them at all cost. So they're going to say, I'm sorry, so they don't create waves. Are you a people pleaser? Are you a people pleaser? Are you a combination of all of them? So what do you do with that information? This is me as a teacher. I can give information, but if I don't turn around and say, this is what I do, or this is what's been helping me, then there's really no end. There's no solution to the video. So here's my solution. The very first thing that you can do, and this takes practice because I've been really working on this. Stop when you want to say I'm sorry, and you just want to say you're sorry because you're conditioned and it's a shoot from the hip. It's just a reaction that you always say I'm sorry. Stop and think before you say it. And ask yourself, have I actually done something wrong? And then if your answer's no, then continue with that and say, well, if I really didn't do anything wrong, do I want that other person to think that I think I did something wrong? No, I don't. So ask yourself right away and get in the habit. It takes practice. I'm practicing to stop before you say, I'm sorry, my hair looks a mess. I'm sorry. No. Who cares if my hair looks a mess? Or who cares if I passed somebody opening the door? Who cares if I didn't know the answer and I needed clarification? Okay. I could get on a tangent. Number two is to just rephrase it. Instead of saying I'm sorry, for instance, with the call yesterday, instead of me saying, hey, Josh, I'm sorry, I don't really get that. And then again, Josh, hey, I'm sorry, I don't really get that. Hey, Josh, I don't get that. I could have said, can you help me understand that a little bit better? Or, Josh, could you explain that a little bit further so I can get some clarification on that? Or, hey, if you don't mind me asking, can you clarify that? Or maybe somebody got their feelings hurt. You didn't do anything wrong, and you can say, instead of saying, hey, I'm sorry you feel that way, say, I understand that this is really upsetting to you. Just know that if you want to talk it out, I am here to talk about it. Do you see how that's different? You're not admitting you're wrong because you're not. All right, the next one is to turn a sorry. This is a fun one. This is an easy one. This is really easy. Turn a sorry into a thank you. For instance, on the call yesterday, I could have said, hey, thank you, Josh. You are so good at what you're doing. Would you explain that a little bit better to me? Or, this one happens a lot. if you live in a house, you know, if you're the one that's emptying the dishwasher and loading the dishwasher all the time, if you're doing the laundry all the time, if you're folding the clothes, if you are going grocery shopping, and let's just say somebody did it for you, they did it before you could do it, turn it around and say a thank you. Instead of saying, oh, I am so sorry I didn't get to unload that dishwasher today, or I'm so sorry I didn't have time to do that load of wash today, say, thank you so much for loading the dishwasher. I really appreciate that. Or thank you so much for doing that laundry. That really saved me a lot of time and I appreciate that. Because it's nothing wrong if you didn't get to the laundry or if you didn't unload the dishwasher. You did not commit murder. You're okay. Last one is figure out what are those little triggers, those little push buttons for you that make you want to say you're sorry more often than not. What are the things that the situations that you're apt to say I'm sorry? Is it when you have a disagreement with your spouse? Is it when you have a disagreement with your child, your friend, when you are asking questions, when you don't look very good, when whatever? Start writing out, what are my trigger points? What are the push buttons? When do I say those words, I'm sorry, when I shouldn't say I'm sorry? When are the times that I do that? And then, as you're writing them out, figure out what you could have said instead. What could have you said instead? So I'm big on homework, so it's Friday. Take the weekend and just think about this. One of the time, or catch yourself this weekend, when you say I'm sorry and you shouldn't say I'm sorry, what just happened? What could I have said instead? So, ladies, we are so apt to do this. I know men do, but ladies, we are so prone to say I'm sorry. Why? Is it because we don't feel we're worthy? You know, I'm sorry that I didn't call you back, or I'm sorry that I didn't email you back sooner, or I'm sorry that I was sort of whining, or I'm sorry that I asked a dumb question, or I'm sorry that I'm asking. Why is it that we say those words so often? I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. So I want you to know that you have a right to be imperfect. We are all perfectly imperfect. I say that in almost every video. You have a right to be real. You have a right not to apologize. I have a right not to apologize. Don't apologize for being you. You are awesome. You are wonderful. You can stand unashamed and speak the truth. Speak the truth. Don't hide behind an I'm sorry. So to kind of tie it all up and just say, believe it or not, when you do this, when I do this, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. We are really, this is really a byproduct of our limiting beliefs about ourselves, or our confidence about ourselves, or our success or significant mindset. And this type of behavior really undermines our self-esteem. And it causes us to be a pushover. And we don't want to be a pushover. We are wonderfully created in His image and made for a really awesome purpose. So, there you go. Just got on my soapbox. So if you got any value out of this video, and if you think somebody in your world needs to hear this, please share this video. Not because I want a share, but because I'm all about teaching and then paying it forward. You gotta grow. If you're not in a growth mindset, you need to rethink that. If you're not always trying to change, you need to rethink that. So anyway, pass this, pay it forward, pass it on. Ladies, I have a Facebook group. It's completely free. It's completely no strings attached. Nothing like that, but it's all about being confident and being worthy, and stop saying I'm sorry and standing unashamed. If you want to join that Facebook group, I'll put the link in the comment section before. Just click on the link, ask to join, and you'll be in our little community. Just a lot of edification that goes on in there. Sorry guys, not for you. Oh well. Oh, I just said I'm sorry. Not this time, guys. I don't have a group for you. There you go. I caught myself. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Enjoy it, and thank you for watching the video.